Hey guys, Mr. Lavasser, and so we're working on the ecology lesson that deals with populations and the levels of organization, and we're about to read a section about ecology, and we're going to underline the sentences for subject and predicate. And sentences have ideas, and all ideas in English are expressed with two parts, subject and predicate. The subject is what you're talking about, and the predicate is information about the subject. Okay, so we're going to be analyzing this text for that. And we'll also be analyzing for the action words, the processes. And the reason why is because the action or the process is usually where the subject and the predicate break. The verb or the action word begins the predicate usually in sentences. So let's have a look at that. Please take that assignment back out, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so here's the assignment, and we watched this first video, kind of the introduction or the overview to this lesson, and we left off after talking about the greasy burger and the sour pickles. And so we're here on section 4. Instructions. Read and highlight processes with pink and science vocabulary words with yellow. Then underline subject with red and predicate with blue. And this is where you've clicked to see this video. And so this video will be shorter than most, but as always, start and stop this video as you need to. So as I give you the examples, you can start and stop the video to help you along doing your work. So I'm going to start by reading through and highlighting action words and vocabulary words. So I'm going to go to draw, and I'm going to get out the pink. And that's going to be my action words or the processes. Ecology is a science. Is, are, has, have. Those are the most common verbs in science writing. Ecology studies how each organism needs the living and the non-living things in their environment. A species is one particular kind of organism. The sparrow is an example of a species, and that needs a period right there. A population is all the members of the same species that live together at the same time. See how some of these have more than one verb in them? Here's, we've got a period, so this is a separate sentence. But in this sentence, we have two verbs. That means there's going to be two subjects and two predicates. Same thing here. Sometimes that could mean that there's going to be a verb and a verb. So it could be like John read and highlighted. So there's two verbs there, read and highlighted. So it's like an extended process. I'm going to do this last one here, and then I'll let you do the rest. Populations are always changing. Always describes how they're changing. So that's actually part of the circumstances, because it tells you how the action's happening. But are changing, and I'm just going to include this as all like the idea of the process, are always changing. Due to births, deaths, emigration, and immigration. So populations are always changing. Why? Due to births, deaths, emigration, they move out or they move around, and immigration, all this from outside moving. Let's do one more. Populations are stable when the population is not growing or declining. So you see we have two verbs here, and we're going to have two subjects and two predicates. This word when is connecting the two ideas together. The word that here is connecting the two ideas together. All right. So let's go back and do the science vocabulary words. Ecology, science, I'm not going to redo ecology again. Organism, living, non-living, environment, species, organism, could go sparrow, population. I'm not going to redo species, births, deaths, emigration, immigration, populations are populations are stable populations. When are they stable? When they're not growing or declining. And that means that there's the same amount of births and deaths, the same amount of emigration and immigration. It might go up and down a little bit, but it's always going to stay like on this line. It's not going to go way up or way down. It's going to kind of like stay the same. And so that's a stable population. All right. Now we can underline using the pens, which I showed you in the last video. This time I'm going to underline doing something a little bit different. I'm going to go here in shapes and I'm going to make a line. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the format and I'm going to change the color and make it into a red line. And that's how I'm going to make my underlines with this one. You can use the pen if you'd like to, but I think that when I do this, it makes a little bit crisper line. And you can cut and paste them. And so here is my blue line, and I'm going to go back up here to the colors, and I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it the lighter blue. There. So now I have my subject, which is ecology, and my predicate is a science. So what are we talking about? We're talking about ecology. That's the subject. What information were we told about ecology? Is a science. It's a science. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here and I'm going to go to home, copy, and then I'm going to paste it. So now I have another line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and do my second part of this, ecology. And now I'm going to copy and paste this blue line. So in the second one, ecology. What about ecology? It studies how each organism needs and I'm going to say this is that right there. And then we have a second subject, which is each organism. So the word how is actually joining these two ideas together. So we have one of those sentences that has more than one subject and more than one predicate. So organisms, what do? They need living things. That's the information. Now I need this line to go down underneath there too. And here it is. So let's look at this sentence. Ecology is a science. Ecology studies how each organism needs the living and non-living things in their environment. Do you see how this, by understanding what the subject and the predicate are, you actually begin to get a deeper meaning? So if you see two action words or two verbs in the sentence, you need to think a little bit about how they're being joined together. And if the two action words are the one thing doing those two things, that didn't make sense. If one thing like ecology studies, well, ecology doesn't need. So this verb must be attached to some other participant. And this time the participant is organism. Studies is about ecology, where needs is about organism. So even though it's one sentence, the verbs are attached to different participants. So that's how I know that I need to have two separate subjects and two separate predicates. So I'm going to copy again and paste. Now in the next sentence, a species is my subject. And what is my predicate? What information do we know about a species? we know a species is one particular kind of organism. What are we talking about? A species. What information about species do we have? Is one particular kind of organism. Subject, species. Predicate is one kind of organism, one particular kind of organism. And I'm going to make another red line for this subject, the sparrow. Notice how it comes before the verb. So that's what we're talking about, the sparrow. And the information or the predicate about the sparrow is an example of a species. The sparrow is an example of a species. Subject, the sparrow. That's what we're talking about. Information about the sparrow or the predicate is an example of a species. All right. I'm going to leave that to you to finish the rest, subject and predicate. Remember, you can do as I did. Once you make your first red and blue line, you can just keep copying and pasting them to complete this, or you can simply go to draw and do something like this. A population is all the members of the same species. That is joining them together, and it also means something. It means the same species. So here, that is the subject, but that means the same species. And here's the predicate, that live together at the same time. So we have two subjects and two predicates. That's why we have two processes or two verbs. And like I said, I will leave the rest for you to complete. That goes all the way down here. And please remember to translate these words or find a synonym in English. And once again, very easy to do. Go to review, highlight the word. You can go to the thesaurus or you can go to the language translator. And there'll be a new video for you for section 5. All right, thank you for your attention and thank you for your hard work.